Okay, yeah, if you're following us live since morning, yeah, we're now at Badagry and here in the museum, just not too far from here. We don't know what is inside. Yes, everybody just sitting down. Everybody has been having fun since morning. We just already now into the museum. I know we are seeing everything live for real. Thanks so much. Let's go, guys. Right about now, we're going inside, and we've seen the beautiful relics outside this place. But it's been wonderful seeing it. We have a couple of us in here, and we're just going inside. Come on, thanks.
Today, thousands of people, schools and organizations from different parts of the world visit Badagry just to see what is remained of the slave trade's history. History is very important. RCCG transformation parish youth were brought all the way from Ibafo to Badagry so they could see the reality of what they read in books as history of slave trade in Nigeria. Unfortunately, there's not much left to see. In 1852, when the Slave Trade Abolition Treaty was signed by Badagry chiefs, there was a clause in the agreement that stated that all of the implements used during the trade was to be destroyed. That was when the slave port and slave market in Badagry were pulled down, canoes were buried, the raccoon prison were shut down. All this was done in order to wipe off the record of slave trade from Badagry. A tourism officer with the Lagos State Ministry of Tourism, who works in Badagry, Peter Misueku, told this daily newspaper. However, not all was destroyed. Some Badagry families had actively participated in the trade, and some of them preserved some items. One of such families is the Mobi family. During the golden days of slave trade, the High Chief of Mobi was one of its major facilitators in Badagry. The Mobi family items preserved would morph into the Mobi Slave Relic Museum, one of the oldest private museums in Nigeria, which is still standing today, harboring some of Badagry's most original relics from the dark trade. The museum is divided into 9 galleries and arranged sequentially to tell the story of slave trade. The introduction gallery gives an insight into how slavery actually started. Then, there is the capture gallery, where you have some chains, some are replicas used during the slave trade. The Equipments Gallery, where there are replicas of the slave drinking pots and prototypes of the slave ship, and how the slaves were packed like sardines inside the lower deck. Then there is the Resistance and Punishment Gallery, where tourists can see images of how the slaves resisted and were punished. There is also the Industry Gallery, which shows the different categories of slaves, as determined by the Europeans. The Mobi Museum is only a small part of what attracts people to Badagry. The physical historical landmarks are numerous. One of such landmarks is the Brazilian Barracoon, a 40-room prison where slaves were kept in terrible conditions, chained from head to toe. Apart from that, there is the point of no return. This is the last point of call for the slaves. When the slaves arrive Badagry, they are transported via the lagoon to an island, where they commence a 2.5-kilometer walk to the Atlantic. Although the island is called Ibafo Beach, it is popularly referred to as the point of no return. There is also the Badagry Heritage Museum. Although the building was converted into a museum, it used to be the district officer's office during the colonial era, which was built in 1863. This museum, like the Mubi Museum, also carries a large collection of slave trade artifacts. Then there is the Agia Monument, the spot where Christianity was first preached. The monument used to be a massive Agia tree that sat at the heart of Badagry. It served as a shelter and a town square for both secular and religious activities. Just like every other African community then, Badagry people were traditional worshippers, and the Europeans believed traditional religions belonged to the darkness. So that was why Ferguson referred to Badagry as a place of darkness, where there is no light. Christianity was seen as the light. So, Ferguson requested that they should send them a missionary who would help them preach the gospel to the people. That was how Reverend Thomas Birch Freeman was redeployed from his base in Gold Coast to Badagry, and he preached the first ever Christian gospel in Nigeria, sowing the seeds of Christianity. It is also noteworthy to state that the Western architectural revolution in Nigeria started in Badagry, where you have the first-story building. Built in 1845 under the supervision of Reverend California Gulema. It took almost 3 years to build. Another occupant of this historic building is the first bishop in Nigeria, Bishop Ajayi Crowther, who wrote the first Yoruba Bible in Nigeria. Hung on the wall of this room are portraits of Reverend Townsend, and also that of Bishop Ajayi Crowther with his grandson Herbert Macaulay. There is also the Bible room, where the missionaries store their Bibles. The safe room which housed the first safe used by the missionary in 1856. It was here that they kept their money and other valuable items, such as the cowries, penny, shillings and kerbo. The first primary school is also situated in Badagry, known as St. Thomas Anglican Nursery and Primary School. It started in 1843, and it was relocated to its original spot in 1845, and it stands up to this moment in Badagry. History is very important. God bless Nigeria.
Mango Park, the explorer, love the light of Badagry Beach. Singer fella sang of the lights and the noise in his city, yeah. Of Badagry Beach.
Beautiful things are happening when the sun goes down, and when the night is darkest, that's the time our light shines bright. It's good to take some time away to put a smile on someone's face. So smile for me, smile for you, smile because you know that happiness is sure. Let your joy be more, so everywhere you go, you can make your laughter loud. Oh, you don't have to be there to make your presence felt. No matter where you are, we can be together in love. Oh, together in love. Oh, happiness is sure. Let your joy be more. So everywhere you go, you can make your laughter loud. Oh, you don't have to be there to make your presence felt. No matter where you are, we can be together in love. Oh, together in love. Oh, no matter where you live, together in love. Oh, no matter where you are, together in love. Oh, I will always be with you. Oh, together in love.
It's been fun for everybody. We're still on till when it goes dark, then we're going home.
I will always be with you. Forever in love.
At this junction, I think we've got to the end of it all. Everything that has a beginning has an end. We are marching into our prayers and we are going home. It's been a wonderful day. It's been a wonderful day at the beach. And we are just leaving the beach at this very hour. We spent this exactly past 5 to 6. We spent barely more than 4 hours here in Badagry. And it's been a lovely day for every one of us. Signing out, Olawande Arunadi. Thanks.